I just want to be remembered as a guy who enjoyed the game and played it at 110% every time he stepped on the court.
Pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win!
Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move by Jordan!
Championship. Jordan quick moves on Russell. We're down to 2. Now to 1. Here's Jordan.
I am here to announce my retirement from the game of basketball.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. It was the last shot fired in the NBA, and as it turned out, the last NBA shot that we expect will ever float off the hand of Michael Jordan. And all it did was win the Chicago Bulls their 6th NBA championship and leave an indelible mark in basketball history. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Lorenz. Welcome to CNN Sports Illustrated special on Michael Jordan, simply the best. Michael Jordan called it quits today for a second and what is fully expected to be final time in Chicago. After 13 years with the Bulls and a little extra time thanks to the lockout to mull over whether or not he wanted to return, Jordan today gave the world his decision. Our John Giannone was at United Center when he did and has the story.
A somber Michael Jordan said it was a struggle at times to harness his emotions, yet even as the inevitable became reality, Jordan again left the masses talking. With one cryptic answer to the question of his future, Jordan showed his desire and competitive fire still isn't thoroughly extinguished.
99.9 says as you read it, you know, it's not really 100%, but it's close.
6 different times during his press conference, Jordan talked about losing the day-to-day mental edge. For as physically gifted an athlete as Jordan was, it was his strength of mind that often set him apart.
In terms of desire is always going to be there. You know, if the desire is not there, the love was never there. You know, but I have to make a judgment in terms of, you know, the desire. You know, all the time I step on the basketball court, not, you know, 1/4 of the time.
Less than a week after the Bulls won their 6th title last June, Jordan told the team at a private dinner that he intended to retire. While team chairman Jerry Reinsdorf encouraged Jordan to mull his decision, Jordan never wavered. Only the NBA lockout and a devotion to his co-workers delayed Jordan's decision.
I wanted to support the players. You know, I wanted to be there and voice some of the opinions of some of the players and give my input because I felt it as an obligation to the players of tomorrow. Just as the players before me have stood up and supported the collective bargaining agreement for me to utilize in my negotiations, I felt obligated to do the same.
Insisting basketball is a part of and not his entire life, Jordan says some of his 15 endorsement deals, coupled with the duties of husband and doting father, will sufficiently fill the retirement void.
My father would basically give me the same advice, and my mother basically did. You know, he would have probably told me this is the perfect time. The writing's on the wall. Take it and walk away with it with your head held high, and you know, and enjoy your kids and move on.
Juanita, what are your feelings about the retirement? How's this going to change your life?
Actually, my life won't change at all. I see Michael doing more carpooling. That's about it.
Jordan's immediate future will include surgery next week on a sliced tendon in his index finger, suffered while cutting a cigar on a recent golf excursion. Now, doctors said Jordan wouldn't have been able to play basketball for 2 months because of the injury, but Jordan made it clear he decided to retire long before he suffered that injury. At the United Center in Chicago, I'm John Giannone.
All right, John, thank you. And one of those most interested in what Michael's decision would be was NBA Commissioner David Stern. He was at the forefront of the lockout, though he knew it would bring about a potential public relations nightmare, one which would have been eased if Jordan had returned for one more season. Still, Stern today wished Jordan nothing but happiness in retirement.
One of the greatest players to grace the game had the ability, the financial comfort, the wherewithal to do exactly what he wants to do. Somebody who's had as full a career as Michael and can literally script the terms of his own departure, I'm not going to find that to be sad or tragic.
Well, Jordan's decision was not completely unexpected. Reports had been out there for months from friends and associates saying he was done. But the finality of Jordan's decision brought these responses from around the league.
He's obviously like a brother to me. He's a great friend of mine. I'm happy for him. And every athlete's dream is to have a career like his and finish with a championship and making your last shot. So obviously, he was just waiting for the lockout to end.
Around the world, when you talk about NBA basketball, most people know two words. That's Michael Jordan. So I don't know. Only time will tell. But this seems to me to be the appropriate way for him to go. Still the best in the game as a winner and on his own terms.
He's a player that makes everyone else on his team a better player, and he expects everyone on his team to do their best and give their best every single night out. And he knows that every game is a challenge, and he steps up to the challenge every single night.
He's undoubtedly the greatest player in the game. We're going to miss him. And I could tell all my 10 children from 9 different women that I played against the great Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan is going to be missed, not only on the court but off the court, because I think, we know what he did on the basketball court, but off the court, Michael did a great job of setting the right example for younger players, for the community, and everybody.
Michael is the ratings for the sport. Let's be honest. Without Michael, we do take a hit.
I'm going to miss him, because whenever I'm thumbing through games, if the Bulls are on, I always wanted to, watch Michael play.
I'm happy for him. At this point, he's really, his teams have won. He's happy. And what more could you want for anyone you care about?
God, it's hell to see him leave, isn't it? Just like he defined an era.
He did indeed. Now where do the Bulls go from here? Well, some on the team probably don't care to think about it. And if that's the case, why should we? Let's instead look at Jordan's career path, which had one destination: greatness.
You got to a certain level, which is the highest level of basketball, which is the NBA. You didn't get here because you endorse shoes or you endorse any other kind of incorporations. I think you got here because of your basketball talents.
The Bulls lead down to 7. It was 11. Here's Jordan in deep on Elo.
I think all the recognition should come from that.
14. Jordan past Petrovic.
No matter what, you got to play the basketball game, the type of basketball that separates you from the average or the great players.
What he brings, Jordan hard to the hoop. The reverse from Michael.
As a team leader, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pick up where the team may be lacking. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that shows competitiveness within me to take over some of that responsibility.
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win!
We're down to 2. Now to 1. Here's Jordan.
It doesn't always have to be taken off from the free throw line or being as creative in the air. It can be all the mental challenges that you deal with. People remember Michael Jordan for what he does on the basketball court.
Here's Jordan for 3. Yes!
Jordan trying to shake off starts. Oh, what a move by Jordan! It counts.
You have to look within yourself and set certain expectations for yourself to drive you each and every day. So when you walk away from the game, you can say you gave every little bit that you could, and each and every day you went out and you tried to find a new challenge to prove.
11, 10, Jordan a drive, hangs, fires, scores! He scores! The Bulls lead 87-86.
Well, if you're a stat freak, you know that Jordan had 29,277 career points, third on the all-time list. But to break it down, every one but one of the games Jordan played, he scored in double figures. The only time it didn't happen was against Cleveland in 1986, and he made the Cavs pay for it the rest of his career. At the other end of the spectrum, Jordan scored 60 or more points in a game 5 times. Well, coming up next on Simply the Best, we'll pick up the argument of, is Michael Jordan the best there ever was? There's some old-timers that might cast their ballots for Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell, while others might say that Magic Johnson or Larry Bird had a greater overall impact. That story and more when we continue. Welcome back. Well, Michael Jordan's numbers speak for themselves, but his impact on the game will undoubtedly be talked about for as long as basketball is played. And as Paul Crane tells us, Jordan could well be the greatest ever to play the game.
Michael Jordan established himself as the greatest player the NBA has ever seen, just as the league itself was enjoying the greatest success in its history. Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain are the only players to ever win 7 consecutive scoring titles, but Jordan could have won an incredible 12 in a row had he not taken a 2-year leave to play baseball, because he captured 3 more upon his return. Chamberlain will always be associated with his record 100-point game, but it's Jordan who owns the NBA playoff record with 63. Jordan's career regular season scoring average of 31.5 is the highest in NBA history, and his career playoff average of 33.4 is also the NBA's best ever.
There will never be another Michael Jordan. As long as I live, as long as my kids live, there'll never be another Michael Jordan. Just because the things he did on the court as well as off the court is going to be hard to exemplify.
And Jordan scored when it mattered most. He beat Cleveland at the buzzer in the decisive games of playoff series in 1989 and 93. Inside against the Lakers in 91 on the way to the Bulls' first of 6 titles in the 90s. Outside against the Blazers in 92 when he hit a playoff record 6 3-pointers in one half. The game-winning jumper to win the opener of the 97 finals against Utah. Or his 38 points, 15 in the fourth quarter against the Jazz when Jordan was so sick he was doubled over at times. And the last shot he'll ever take to win the 1998 finals.
Chicago with the lead!
We always talk about killer instinct or determination, mental toughness, Michael combined all of it. He could push himself to another level.
But Jordan was more about winning than scoring. After the Pistons pushed him around in the late 80s on their way to 2 straight titles, Michael matured into the kind of player who needed to do more than score.
Mike can say he beat everybody to win a championship. And we can't say we beat Mike. Nobody can say they beat Mike to win a championship.
They perform better because of him. And that's what great players are supposed to do, is make their teammates better. He did it night in and night out, it was incredible.
The 6 titles won by Jordan's Bulls are 1 more than Magic Johnson's Lakers and 3 more than the Celtics of Larry Bird. Without Jordan, the Bulls were little more than a middle-of-the-pack team. In his first full season after returning from baseball, the Bulls emerged from that pack to win an NBA record 72 games.
He's done everything possible as a player. When you're coming out of college and you set goals for yourself, he's reached them all.
Just the greatest player ever, if you ask me.
Will you miss him then?
No, give somebody else a chance to win.
Jordan also won Olympic gold medals in 1984 and 92. And as a freshman at North Carolina, hit the shot that gave the legendary Dean Smith his first NCAA championship. Ultimately, how do we measure Michael Jordan? Bill Russell's Celtics won an unprecedented 11 titles. Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scored more points. But for artistry, desire, and overall accomplishment on the court, no one has had more impact on basketball than Jordan. It's hard to imagine anyone ever having that kind of impact again. I'm Paul Crane.
Well, here's how Jordan stacks up against the greats, or they against he. 5 league MVP crowns, 6 finals MVP honors. Jordan's 10 scoring titles are the most ever. And while he may not have as many rings as Bill Russell, he without question single-handedly changed the fortunes and attitude of a team, its city, and the entire league. Can anyone else boast of that? But Jordan's announcement was felt from the White House to Wilmington. And in a moment, we'll hear from the folks in the North Carolina town where Michael Jordan grew up. National correspondent Sonia Steptoe found that, like the rest of the nation, it was tough for the locals to say goodbye to Mike.
It's sort of sad because he's been in basketball for a lot of years now, and I don't think he should give it up.
I think he's an inspiration to keep your grades up so you can be on the basketball team, because, it's a chance to be just like him.
He was once dubbed the $10 billion man for his impact on the U.S. economy. His appeal has been national, even global, but nowhere is Jordan's image more omnipresent than in the city of Chicago. Every time Jordan stepped onto the court at United Center, between $8 and $10 million were pumped into the local economy. From parking, concessions, and souvenirs to restaurants, bars, and tourism, Jordan and the Bulls were an entertainment windfall for the Windy City. Jordan also drove the league to another stratosphere. Before he arrived, the league sold $44 million worth of its merchandise each year. Last year, sales totaled $3.1 billion. Average attendance jumped about 6,500 fans per game. And the Bulls ticket, both at home and on the road, became the toughest to get. Well, the ripple effect of Jordan's announcement was felt even at the White House. President Clinton joined the many who wished Jordan well and marveled at his exploits.
We wish Michael Jordan well. We admire him, we like him very much, and we thank him for years of thrilling exploits. In my life, I don't know that I ever saw another athlete with such a remarkable set of qualities of mind, body, and spirit. Not only somebody who had a body that would do things no one else's would do, but who always expected to do whatever it was he tried to do.
And now from the White House to Wilmington, North Carolina, where Jordan grew up and could no doubt get a few votes if he ran for mayor. National correspondent Sonia Steptoe visited Wilmington and found that Jordan's announcement really hit home.
Here in Michael Jordan's hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina, a brilliant sunrise ushered in the day the sun would set on a brilliant career of this city's most famous native. Whether at the restaurant where Jordan earned his first paycheck or the high school where his athletic exploits began, the talk of the town was of the legend leaving the game.
I think we have mixed emotions. You know, we're real proud he came from our town here, and he's just a class act and it's been wonderful for the game of basketball, and we're just so proud of him here.
We're proud that he's able to retire. He's not going to be out of the picture, I feel sure. That he's going to still be doing things, and we'll be still helping a lot of young people.
I think it's going to be really sad and everything because he's such a role model for kids in Wilmington and everybody else in the United States.
For some, it may be sad to see him leave the game, but for some, it may be happy knowing that, what he left behind. He left a legacy behind in the NBA.
While his fans in the rest of the world marvel at Jordan's wealth, fame, and trophies, the folks in this working-class community cherish the legacy of achievement he leaves for youngsters in his hometown to follow. In Wilmington, North Carolina, I'm Sonia Steptoe.
Thank you, Sonia. Coming up next, our Jim Huber will offer his perspective on Jordan's career and what's ahead for his Airness. And we'll also take a further look at some of Jordan's most enduring images. At CNNSI.com, you can check out the cover of the upcoming commemorative issue on his Airness. Also, a wealth of information and a vault of video highlights and images are there for your enjoyment. Well, Michael Jordan could do it all. He played good, he looked good, he smelled good because of his cologne, he sold goods, lots of them, and he even acted, well, fairly good. But Jim Huber now remembers not a god of some sort, just a man who achieved greatness nearly all of the time.
In retrospect, he surely was created on a canvas, either as a magnificent work of art or a comic book superhero, and perhaps both. Superman, after all, never flew quite so high, or in his middle years suffered such human failings. Michael Jordan was simply one of the most complete and yet flawed athletic creations in this planet's history. The best basketball player ever, the most average baseball player, the most eager golfer, the best huckster, the ultimate in class and style and $1,000 Nassau's. But beyond anything else, as his career in the NBA comes to a stuttering end, he shall be remembered as the man who, almost like a human jet, flew the league beyond Magic Johnson and Larry Bird into its multi-million-dollar era. There is irony there, for when Magic and Bird left the NBA, we wondered if anybody could possibly come along to elevate the game further. And almost immediately, there was Michael. But at the end of this remarkable reign, who is there to accept the baton? Could we have somehow seen the ultimate performer? He leaves not as the all-time leading scorer, but his 10 scoring championships are 3 more than anybody else in history. He departs with 6 championship rings, 5 fewer than Bill Russell, and yet what one other man was responsible for transcending the game, drawing sellouts and high television ratings wherever and whenever he performed. Who single-handedly won more games. Jordan's theatrics were also heroic. 25 game-winning shots over his NBA career, like the memorable jumper against Cleveland in '89, and the shot that beat Utah in '98.
Jordan a drive, hangs, fires, scores! He scores!
But But in between those two shots came one of the most mysterious, perhaps human gaps in sports history. As Michael Jordan was taking his rightful place as one of the greatest athletes of all time, he chose to retire from basketball to try his hand at baseball. The tragic death of his father eating away at it. Rumors of heavy gambling on the golf course taking their toll. Why not baseball? But if he himself believed in his athletic invincibility, that game did not. It chased him amid great fanfare to the minor leagues and chronicled his failings nightly. As a basketball player, bronze. As a baseball player, papier-mâché. And so almost as though he had served his sentence, the NBA gladly took him back 2 years later. And just days into his second coming, he scored 55 points against the Knicks. His role in the league was one thing. His status as the world's highest paid salesman was yet another altogether. From shoes to cologne, he made millions for himself and much more for his companies. Hollywood called, and Michael jammed. It was a natural. And his Chicago Bulls, with Jordan leading the league in scoring, won the last 3 NBA championships. Now, a seasoned and semi-disrepair, he takes his final leave to lower his handicap and raise his children, to take his rightful place as an elder statesman. Will another somehow enter his vaunted airspace and rescue the NBA once again? Or have we been blessed with the last great Skywalker? If there are artists hard at work, they had best have majestic imaginations, for this one will be almost impossible to beat. I'm Jim Huber.
Thanks, Jim. And thank you for joining us for a special look at Michael Jordan. He is retired now, far short of his golden years, but he has golden memories of his own to keep and so many for all of us to share. And we'll do that now. For all of us at CNN Sports Illustrated, I'm Bob Lorenz. Happy retirement, Michael.
Everyone picked other teams to win, or we would have a tough time because we were old. And, with all that, we just, we're like a grain of salt. We just fought a little bit harder. And each and every time that we stepped on the floor, we knew that, this may not ever happen again. And we enjoyed each and every moment. And I'm very happy to end it the way that we wanted to end, which was a championship. And I think that's something that we feel proud about. And for every Chicagoan from, that's moved and traveled all over the city, all over the world, now they can say that they're part of a championship team.